Hey Booktube, Science Fiction Reads here with a huge vintage SF book haul, my favorite kind of video. A lot of these came from local to me thrift stores, but a good chunk of them came from a thrift store in Toronto. I've been in and out of Toronto lately, and well, here's the thing. I get the odd email now and then, just kind of asking how I'm doing. A lot of you probably remember we had a baby last year, and he was born very sick and had a very short life. And I appreciate the emails. We are having another baby this October, and he has the same rare genetic disorder, unfortunately. So he'll be born at Sick Kids Toronto, and we're going to be there for, I have no idea, months, hopefully. And hopefully it works out, but I've taken the opportunity, being in and out of Toronto, to kind of search out bookstores, none of which I've been to yet, and thrift stores, one of which I made it to, and I will definitely be going back. So, yeah, bit of an update there, and just hoping for the best, and thank you for the odd email I receive. Anyway, on to the good stuff. Let's see. I have been specifically going to thrift stores, and I mean, I always do this anyway, but of course I'm looking for stuff for myself, but I'm always looking for stuff to resell on eBay and make a little cash. So some of these things, depending when I put this video out, I'm probably already on eBay. Also there's a lot of these things that are books I already have, but I bought them in case they were in better shape than the ones I have. So that's the case with a couple of these. So first up, Samuel R. Delaney, Babel 17. This is in fairly decent shape for an old ace. It's got a crease on the spine, and I thought that's probably in better shape than the one I have. Turns out I forgot I have like a paperback omnibus, and Babel 17 is one of the stories in there, so I probably won't keep that. Here's a nice ace double, The Nemesis from Terra by Lee Brackett. I already have like a stand-alone novel of this, and on the other side we've got Silverberg's Collision Course. I also have a much more modern reprint of that. A lot of these though were $1, so I picked this up. I can't remember if I've read this. I don't think I have, but yeah, I have a nice ace reprint from this, would be from the 70s, whereas this ace double, I have a feeling is a pretty early one. Yeah, 1961. Yeah. So yeah, probably put that on the bracket shelf, maybe. Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park. Haven't read it and don't have a copy, but this, I'm pretty sure, is a first edition, first printing, mass market paperback, so that'll probably go on eBay, because those are always popping up and selling. Or maybe I'll keep it, I don't know. This is a book I have wanted to read for years now, but don't need to keep the first edition, unless I read it and absolutely love it. Here, let me know if you've ever heard of this author, Patricia Anthony. Short story collection called Eating Memories. I looked it up on Goodreads, and there was a few reviews saying they were really very literate and moving stories, more speculative fiction than science fiction, but looking at the back, there's definitely some science fiction themed short stories here, so I'm quite curious to check that out. An Ace Science Fiction Special. This is Bob Shaw, The Two-Timers. Not in the best of shape, but I rarely find Bob Shaw. most of the Bob Shaws on my shelf, and I do have a nice collection now. Came from a friend in Toronto who sent me a bunch of books. Haven't heard of this, but again, it was in decent shape for an old ace. It's Alan Yates' Coriolanus the Chariot, which I think is like a Shakespeare-themed space opera. I do remember looking up this on Goodreads, and not so sure it's my kind of thing. Kathleen Sky, Witch Dame, some kind of fantasy. I just liked the cover art there. Haven't read any Kathleen Sky. James P. Hogan, Code of the Life Maker. I've only read the prologue to this. I picked this up thinking it might be better condition than the copy I had. I've only read short stories by him, but another friend of mine, Sean Stanfast, who has a channel, has been on me lately to read James P. Hogan. And that's probably the one I will check out. Another book I bought in case it was in better shape, T.J. Bass's Half Past Human, a book I tried recently and put down again because I just wasn't in the right headspace to read this guy's unique prose. This is written in a very unique way. I was intrigued, I just wasn't up to the mental gymnastics of trying to keep up and figure out what was going on. But I will get to this. I also DNF'd God Whale years ago, which is his only other science fiction and is related to this. But one of these days I will get those two read. A.E. Van Vogt, The Universe Maker. I think I have an old ace, might be an ace double called Universe Maker, which I imagine that's the same thing. But this is in awesome shape, a pocketbook. From what, the 70s, I guess? 1979. Just uncracked spine. Quite happy to find that. Arthur Byron cover, An East Wind Coming. Never heard much about this author. He does have some weird book with platypus in the title, which I have, which is like a short story collection, all science fiction. An immortal Sherlock Holmes facing off against Jack the Ripper in the future, something like that. That does sound kind of interesting. Robert Forward, and I think this was co-written with his daughter, or it could be his wife, Julie Forward. Return to Roche World. So I have a few of the Roche World books now. I've read several of his books. What are the two really good ones? Dragon's Egg and Starquake. Absolutely epic, hard SF. Alright, a couple Joe Haldemans here with some Jim Burns cover art. We've got Worlds Apart, which I think might be part of a trilogy. And There Is No Darkness. And again, I think these both have, yeah, like uncracked spines. A lot of ace uncracked spines. They must have come from the same person, because a lot of these came from that thrift store in Toronto. And Eric Brown, I have a few of his books now. This is Cosmopath, a Bengal Station novel. He was recommended reading from, I think, Outlaw Bookseller. Recently passed away and wrote a lot of space opera. So, several of his books now. I got another one up there, which is, there's a lot of books here, so I have another pile over there for a future book haul. Here's two I was really happy to find. Oh, no, just one. I don't know where the other one is, but I'll get to it. But George Alec Effinger's A Fire in the Sun, the first. Oh no, that's not the first. That is the second in the trilogy. This is like a Middle Eastern cyberpunk, very unique. I really enjoyed it, even though it really just has a lot of the scenery and set pieces of cyberpunk. It's really just a police detective story, but I really loved these, and I think I found the second and third book here in really great shape to replace the copies I have. And then the others that I'll get rid of, might put those up on eBay. A couple Jack Chalkers, number 1 and 3, I think, in a trilogy called the Quintara Marathon. This is Demons at Rainbow Bridge. I'm just picking up every Chalker I find that I don't have because I really enjoyed his Well-World books. I really enjoyed his Well-World books. And I think the third in that trilogy is the 90 Trillion Fausts, with a bizarre cover. A lot of his stories seem to have people transforming into other people or other creatures. John Varley, Steel Beach, massive ace paperback. I've only read his Gaia trilogy, which I absolutely loved. The other George Alec Effinger, The Exile Kiss. All right, 4 hardcovers here. I was happy to find these because they have such great vintage cover art, but I'll probably get rid of these. I have plenty of Andre Norton that I have yet to read, but these are some nice hardcovers from, I think 3 are from Victor Gollancz in the 70s. This is Dark Piper. These are all ex-library from Lake Ontario Regional Library. But yeah, that like really awesome cover art. They look like they're all young adult. Knight of Masks. Actually, that has some nice wraparound cover art there. No Night Without Stars. And Forerunner 4A. Again, awesome cover art. A cool anthology here, Rivals of Weird Tales, 30 great fantasy and horror stories from the weird fiction pulps, with some excellent cover art there. This, I think it's from 1990. Yeah, 1990 first edition, and it is full of a lot of epic stories. The Words of Guru by Cyril Kornbluth. We just read that, Richard Ira and I, for the Best of Kornbluth. But yeah, I saw that and thought that would be a really unique look at a specific genre of stories from the time. Lester Del Rey, Moon of Mutiny. I think this is a young adult, which I either have or I used to have. I just couldn't pass up an old signet with an uncracked spine. This thing is 144 pages. And yeah, from 1969 is when this copy was released. Pretty sure it's kind of an early young adult. Here's one I was happy to find. I've been expecting to find this as a masterwork for years now. I've just never come across it. Nicola Griffith, Ammonite. She's got a few stories that Gollancz has put in their masterworks, and I've wanted to read her for quite a while, so nice to find that. Lawrence Watt Evans, The Cyborg and the Sorcerers. I think this probably has a touch of comedy to it, but can't pass up a nice condition Del Rey for $1. Cyberpunk I had not heard of, and it is from 1988, so when Cyberpunk was still fresh. This is W.T. Quick's Dreams of Flesh and Sand. Again, a decent condition signet. It doesn't look great, but I'm quite curious to check this out. Cyberpunk from the actual era when cyberpunk was still fresh. So I am curious. I think I've heard of W.T. Quick, but I don't think I've heard anybody speak of the author before. Paul de Filippo, Ribofunk, which I think is basically a bunch of biopunk / maybe cyberpunk-ish short stories, sounds like. A book I've heard of but never found before until now. And I don't think I've heard anybody talk about this, but yeah, there's several short stories in there. Not a great looking copy though. Probably the most unattractive book in this haul. We've got Linda Nagata's Memory. Don't remember what this one is about, but I did read a novel of hers. Can't remember the name now, but it had a lot of nods to Greg Bear's Blood Music. Especially a character with a similar name, different spelling. There's a couple Easter eggs in there. Basically referencing the source material because it was very similar in theme to Blood Music. But yeah, I rarely find Linda Nagata. I think that other book might have been called State of Vision. George Dick Lauder, this is a Dobson science fiction hardcover. Our Man for Ganymede. Little known author and book. I did a little research. The author sounded like an interesting guy. But yeah, this is like a space opera that I can't remember what I read about a review, but it said it was half decent, so might hold on to that. Jeff Vandermeer's Hummingbird Salamander. Only picked that up because it was cheap. I am interested in reading anything by him, having read Annihilation, but I wouldn't pay, brand new prices for that. So that's nice to find that, because that was maybe $2. Got a Silverberg hardcover here, Born with the Dead. 3 novellas. I have read Born with the Dead, but I don't think I've read the other 2 here. Thomas the Proclaimer, and I may have read Going, but I don't think so. So it's got a pretty bad spine lean, and it is ex-library, but I might hold on to that. Another anthology, The Best Fantasy Stories from the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. So, massive tome here. This is from 1985. Edited by Edward L. Furman. Alright, I've got Carolyn Ives Gilman, Isles of the Forsaken. The only thing I've read by her is Dark Orbit, which I must have bought like 10 years ago. It was one of the first science fiction books I read, and I really enjoyed it. This, however, after getting home and looking it up, doesn't sound as interesting to me. I think it's the first in a 2-book series. Some kind of fantasy. Another anthology, Universe 2, edited by Silverberg and Karen Haber. I think I've had and sold this before. And not a huge collection, but there is a lot of unfamiliar names there to me. Three books here that I bought basically just to resell. These are 3 Orson Scott Card first editions. Got Ender's Shadow, Ender in Exile. These are all, I think, possibly ex-library. No, they're not ex-library. They're just have dust jackets and are in good shape. And Children of the Mind. I did read 10-ish years ago the first 4 books, and this was the best of the 4. I'm one of the few people who really couldn't care less about Ender's Game, but I did enjoy this one, and yeah, really nice condition. First edition, but I think I'll sell those. We're getting down to the bottom here. Complete and unabridged novels of Sherlock Holmes. I've been interested in reading these for quite a while, and this was an omnibus of the 4 novels for $1, so that'll probably go in the closet for years, but I do want to check those out sometime. This is totally different. In the Courts of the Sun by Brian D'Amato. This is like a time travel, urban fantasy kind of thing. I enjoy reading about the Maya and Aztecs, South American cultures, and this involves, I believe, the Maya, so could be good, but I mean, this is a massive, massive book. Although I did read Gary Jennings' Aztec, and that was a huge, huge book about the same size as this, and really enjoyed that. These are cool. E. Doc Smith, Chronicles of the Lensman. These are Science Fiction Book Club. I thought these were Nesva Press. I've seen them before online. Misremembered, thinking they were Nesva Press, but they're Science Fiction Book Clubs. I have both of them here. They came with posters, but neither of these have the posters still. But this first one has Triplanetary, First Lensman, and Galactic Patrol, with John Berkey cover art. Is what the posters would have been. And this collects Gray Lensman, Second Stage Lensman, and Children of the Lens, all of which I had in mass market paperbacks, which I will collect together and probably put on eBay and keep these nice hardcovers. Just a couple left. Another contemporary book, Cameron Hurley's The Stars Are Legion. When I first got into reading science fiction, this was like a new release that I was reading about, but I haven't actually read it yet. Yeah, this was first published in 2017. And I started reading SF in 2015. But yeah, that's basically new condition. And just a few more. A Larry Niven, this is Fallen Angels, co-written with Jerry Pournelle and Michael Flynn. Larry Niven might be the only author who, I have so many books of his, he's on 3 different shelves at the moment. And this is one I've passed by in bookstores for years, but because I'm not all that interested in this one, but it was in great shape for $1. This just looked like it has like 70s thriller vibes. The Company Man by Joe Clifford Faust. I don't know if I'll read it or keep it, but the cover and the synopsis and just the title, it just looks like a near-future dystopian crime. And I might be in the mood for something like that at some point. Robert Sheckley's, this was like a limited run of Ace doubles Ace did in the 70s. This is The Status Civilization, and I have this copy. I've read The Status Civilization and Notions Unlimited, which I think is the short story collection, is the second half of this. I bought it to replace the copy that I have because this is in slightly better condition. A couple fantasies here from Michael Scott Rowan, The Anvil of Ice and The Hammer of the Sun, which I think is volume 1 and 3 in a trilogy. I just liked the cover art, and they did sound kind of interesting. And the last one here, Michael Flynn, who I have not read. This is a nice Bane book copy of the Nanotech Chronicles, which is a compilation of short stories. I think maybe these have been reworked into like a fix-up novel. And actually, now that I open this, it looks like it has a bit of water damage. It's kind of warped, but the exterior is nice. So Nanotech Stories from 1991, and there's the stories right there. So yeah, quite the huge haul. I got another one I need to film, but I am flying out to Alberta tomorrow for a wedding. I'll be gone for like a week, so I don't think I'm going to get that filmed and uploaded in time, but I'm going to try and get this uploaded before I head out. And yeah, since I'll be in and out of Toronto and then living there for a while, gonna make the best of it and hunt down some vintage SF every chance I get. As always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.